Every morning at 4:45 a.m., while the city still slept, Arav's alarm rang. It wasn't a heroic sound, no triumphant music, just a dull, persistent beep that felt more annoying than inspiring. Arav often wondered if greatness really began this way, half awake, eyes burning, questioning every life choice that led to this moment. He lived in a one-room apartment, worked a job he didn't love, and carried dreams that felt far too big for his current reality. Arav wanted to become a writer, not a hobbyist, not someone who writes sometimes, a real writer whose words could move people. But wanting something and becoming it were two very different things. Years ago, he had tried bursts of motivation writing for 5 hours straight one weekend, then disappearing for weeks. He waited for inspiration like people wait for miracles. And just like miracles, it rarely came. One evening, after another long day at work, Arav stumbled upon an old notebook he had kept in college. Inside, on a dog-eared page, was a sentence he had written long ago. Small actions, repeated daily, shape destiny. He didn't remember writing it, but it stayed with him. That night, Arav made a decision, not a dramatic one. Not a vow fueled by adrenaline. A quiet decision. He would write 300 words every day. No more. No excuses. Good or bad. Inspired or tired. 300 words felt almost insignificant. What could that possibly change? The first few days were easy. The novelty helped. He woke up, wrote his 300 words and felt oddly proud. But by the second week, reality arrived. Some mornings, his mind felt empty. On others, his job drained him so completely that writing felt pointless. He questioned himself constantly. This isn't enough. Real writers do more. What's the point of writing words no one will read? Yet he kept going, not because he felt motivated, but because he had promised himself consistency, not perfection. Some days his writing was clumsy. Some days it was terrible. He cringed rereading it, but he showed up anyway. 300 words. Every day. Months passed, and nothing magical happened. No publisher called. No viral post. No sudden recognition. That's where most people would have stopped. Arav almost did. One night, frustrated, he met his friend Rohan for coffee. Rohan listened patiently as Arav vented about how his effort seemed pointless. Rohan smiled and said, "Do you know why people quit the gym?" Arav shrugged. Because results are invisible before they're inevitable. That sentence hit hard. Rohan continued, "You don't see muscles forming day by day, but miss enough days and you notice weakness immediately. Consistency works quietly." Arav went home and wrote his 300 words. Something subtle changed around the 6-month mark. Writing no longer felt like a battle. His fingers moved faster. Ideas flowed more naturally. He noticed his vocabulary improving. His stories had structure, emotion, clarity. He hadn't become extraordinary overnight, but he was undeniably better. More importantly, writing had become part of his identity. He wasn't someone trying to write anymore. He was someone who writes, and consistency had done that. After 1 year, Arav had written over 100,000 words. That number shocked him, all from just 300 words a day. He compiled some of his best pieces and submitted them to online platforms. Most were rejected. A few were ignored. Then one email arrived. "Your story moved us deeply. We'd like to publish it." It wasn't fame. It wasn't fortune. But it was proof. Proof that those early mornings mattered. Proof that small efforts weren't small at all. That one published story led to another, then another. Slowly, opportunities followed, not because Arav was suddenly lucky, but because he was prepared. Consistency had quietly built his foundation while the world wasn't watching. Years later, Arav stood on a small stage, addressing aspiring writers. Someone asked him the question he had once asked himself. "How did you stay motivated?" Arav smiled. "I didn't," he said honestly. "I stayed consistent." He explained that motivation is emotional, unreliable, fleeting, Consistency is a decision, a discipline, a commitment to show up even when enthusiasm disappears. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, he continued, and underestimate what they can do in a year. He paused, letting the silence speak. Consistency is not loud. It doesn't announce itself, but it always delivers. The power of consistency is not in doing extraordinary things once, it's in doing ordinary things repeatedly. It's the student who studies 1 hour daily instead of cramming, the athlete who trains even on unmotivated days, the dreamer who keeps going when no one applauds. Consistency compounds. Every small action stacks on the previous one, forming momentum. And one day, without realizing it, you look back and realize how far you've come. Not because you were the most talented, not because you were the smartest, but because you refused to stop. Greatness doesn't come from intensity, it comes from persistence. If you show up today and tomorrow and the day after, your future self will thank you. Start small, stay consistent, trust the process, because the quiet power of consistency can change everything.